All right, welcome back. Don't call it a comeback because XRP's been here for years. It is up over 39%. Oh, yeah, that's right. You heard that right. XRP has jumped back over 39%. There's a lot happening. There's a lot to really get our mind around, but let's just go ahead and roll that beautiful intro and get started. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. I've had a couple people ask me about the XRP Ledger and some live transactions that have been happening. And I'm looking up here and it says right here, average transaction ledger is 55.23 right now. Transactions per second, 14.05. When I look at this, I'm not going to kid you. This is like me looking at this is like the equivalent of me looking at hieroglyphics on the wall of a cave. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. This is not my forte, right? So anybody out here who can bring any information to any of this about the ledger that may be some activity that we haven't seen before in some way, make sure you DM me on Twitter and I will definitely look into it further because like I said, this is not my specialty. So I just wanted to put it before the audience and let you guys take a look at it. Also wanted to say to everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. I hope you're with family and friends or just someone you love, and I hope you're having the best day ever. And let's get on to it because we got to look at the down and the up. So we're up over 39%, but take this. This is where we were at. Okay, XRP was listed on 192 exchanges this morning. It is now listed on 138. It's been delisted from 54 exchanges in 20 hours. Many others have ceased XRP trading and removed XRP pairs. I personally believe that we need, and I've said this in previous videos, if you haven't watched it, you really need to watch the Howey test, Ripple test video. And big shout out to DAI, Digital Asset Investor, gave me a huge shout out yesterday, man, and I just really appreciate that. He's such a great guy, such a great channel and audience members over there, and I appreciate each and every one of you that came over, and I appreciate him for bringing even more light to the idea notion that we need a legal decision. We need a lawsuit from the SEC. I think it's intentional in the fact that we need to have legal precedent in order to craft the regulation that's needed off of that legal precedent. We don't have that yet. I have said for a long time on this channel, we're talking about payment. We're talking about a ledger, an XRP ledger, that has not been legally defined as to what it is. I think that's why you start to hear, we have heard over the last several months since Brian Brooks has been at the OCC, we have heard him refer to blockchain and distributed ledger technology as payment networks. And that, to me, is one of the first huge steps we started to see as a regulator would speak about these things in such clear terms. So now we understand, all right, there was the hole. Well, you know what? Don't worry about it at this point because SBI comes out and says, you know what? They announced that the impact of the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple on business results will be minor. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because that's exactly what it said. It said most of the customers are outside the United States anyway, and we're just going to get on with it. That's exciting to me because this is a global decentralized asset that the world can use, and these rules that we're talking about here are domestic in the United States. Now, can they have an impact on allies and countries that work very closely with the U.S. and the economy in the U.S.? You better believe it. They can have an impact, but they can't do it everywhere. And that's what excites me about all of this. And I know it needs to get sorted out because I know that the government itself understands the legitimacy of XRP. That's why this legal precedent is well on its way, I believe. All right, so here we're seeing Coinbase, and this is really, really great because it shows here you can still send money fast across border virtually instantly using XRP and USDC, and it is free. No fee to send or receive XRP or USDC to another Coinbase account. Now, that's from Crypto Bull. Shout out to Crypto Bull. And here's what I want to say about this is that, Coinbase could still do something. But it's just to say, as of yet, it hasn't. And you know what? Let's take a look at what's going on here, because it's at 36.94. It was at 37 plus. We were up 39% because it was at 38.17 a short time ago. And that to me is like really remarkable, the resiliency of people who understand what XRP actually is and what it does. And ultimately, I really believe, again, I cannot drive this home enough. This is the Christmas present from the channel to you. We need to have a new Howey test for digital assets. I believe, just like SEC versus Howey is where they had that Supreme Court legal decision and then created the framework for the Howey test of what is a security and what isn't from that. I believe we need to have a SEC versus Ripple and then that legal definition and precedent that they can craft a Ripple test for all digital assets. I think that's what's coming here, and I'm going to lean into it until I see otherwise. That, to me, looks a lot like it. Remember, the SEC just created a new division for specifically digital assets. I feel like that legal decision in this case could end up giving the shape of that so-called Howey test or Ripple test for that new SEC division. That's where I think we're going here, and it makes the most sense. I want to remind everybody that months and months ago, we heard Steve Mnuchin, U.S. Treasury Secretary, lay it down this way. Let's listen to this, because we're also going to hear a clip from David Schwartz in just a second, who I believe really just lays to what is happening today. He laid down, and the reality is he laid it down a few years ago. It was either 2017 or 2018, I believe, of the clip that you're going to hear. But is it so accurate to where we are in this moment with our investment? Let's listen to this right here.
The U.S. welcomes responsible innovation, including new technologies that may improve the efficiency of the financial system and expand access to financial services. That being said, with respect to Facebook's Libra and other developments in cryptocurrencies, our overriding goal is to maintain the integrity of our financial system and protect it from abuse.
Do the new regulations favor traditional banks, maybe in the same way?
No, this is intended to be a level playing field, whether you're MoneyGram or you're a bank or you're an online or you're PayPal.
Which, by the way, when he said this, PayPal was not into crypto. This was probably, I'm guessing, a year or more ago. It's been a while.
Is intended to be a level playing field. And again, what we do encourage, and there's been a lot of financial innovation away from traditional banks, for electronic payment systems. Lots of people use electronic payment systems in dollars very effectively.
Again, his language now, looking back, I remember when he gave this clip, I believe it was during the summer, and it was 2018. It was right around the time, I believe, Ripple and MoneyGram had recently partnered, and that was about 18 months ago. So it's somewhere in that time frame. And listen to what he said right there. He's talking about payment systems and payment networks. Listen.
In dollars very effectively. And, we'll continue to support those activities. We want technology to evolve. For electronic payment systems, lots of people use.
For electronic payment systems, that is exactly what Brian Brooks says all the time. And it never stuck out then. But now that we hear the regulator, Brian Brooks, really holding on to that to understand this is the core foundation of exactly what we're talking about here. Obviously, tokens come with it. He explained that too. Brian Brooks told us that, you can't have blockchain or DLT and not the crypto. They are not mutually exclusive. And that is another huge clarification right there from a regulator, right? So this is all exciting here. Now, let me just go ahead and give you the rest of this really quickly.
Technology to evolve.
Secretary, aren't you afraid of painting everybody with the same brush? You have some of the crypto guards that have been going to CFTC, they've been going with the IMF and Lagarde and the ECB and every regulator getting this done in the rules, and Libra sort of comes up. So you're sort of putting everybody in the same brush for all the.
No, I don't think we're doing that at all. Matter of fact, as I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to speak about this is there's been lots of activity that's been going on for the last year on this. And, whether it's Congress or other areas of the press, because of Libra, it's caught a lot of attention and people weren't aware of all the work that's been going on. So that's the purpose.
And that is the purpose. And I tell you something, let's go now to this next piece right here, because since that time, and I'm telling you, it was a year and a half or so ago, and now we have a new SEC chairman, and he is pro-crypto. This is Elad Roisman, and he's known as one of the most crypto-friendly SEC commissioners. Really? Very excited to see what comes of all of this. I do believe, again, that we need to move through this legal issue and set precedent for not only XRP, but the entire crypto space with a new test. All right, now here we see motion here, more clarity coming from FinCEN. This is December 23, and this is from Cryptic Poet. Shout out to him. And the last piece, also I want to shout out Ian Northing for that. Thank you, Ian. So looking at this, I'm not going to go through it, but here it just gives clarity to convertible virtual currencies or digital assets with legal tender status. A legal tender digital asset known as a LTDA, held in an unhosted wallet or held in wallets hosted in a jurisdiction identified by FinCEN. FinCEN is proposing to adopt these requirements pursuant to the Bank Secrecy Act to effectuate certain of these proposed requirements. FinCEN proposes to prescribe by regulation and CVC and LTDA monetary instruments, and that's what we're looking at here, qualifying as money. Now, they've made this distinction in 2015 with Ripple and XRP, that XRP was virtual currency. And there's another part of the backbone of the defense for Ripple moving forward that I think will help set legal precedent. All right. Now, here is where we're at here. This is something from David Schwartz. Shout out to David Schwartz and everybody at Ripple right now. And I know that this was at least a year, maybe two ago. And he lays down what is happening right at this moment. And, it doesn't take a genius to know where we are, but we're going to have a genius tell us where we are. Let's hear David say it. Here it is.
Is there conflicting information and controversy around it with respect to security law? Because security law has not changed with respect to blockchain technology in a long time. In the early days of blockchain, there were people who were arguing that Bitcoin's XRP and everything else were inherently counterfeit and citing the von Nothaus case, and they had some good arguments. It wasn't clear. We've gotten guidance from some organizations. The SEC recently has talked about how they're going to think about, deciding how these tokens meet security law. But they have not given a black and white test. They haven't said this is the test. They've given a test, but it's filled with vague terms. The Howey test, came from a series of court cases that were decided, and it's just really hard to figure out how that applies. We're pretty comfortable that XRP is not a security, but ultimately it's going to be the SEC and perhaps the courts that make that decision.
Perhaps the courts that make that decision. He's leaning in and telling you back then when he said this that they see the potential for an outcome for legal precedent, just like you had with SEC versus Howey, which gave us the Howey test.
I would say the biggest drag on cryptocurrency projects today is regulatory uncertainty, by which I mean not laws that are bad. Laws that are bad are a problem too, like laws that, okay, I get it, but that really should be changed because it doesn't make sense. It's not that. It's laws that we don't know what the laws are because they use terms that it's, like for example, in the money transmitter law, it talks about someone who accepts a payment. Well, what does it mean to accept a payment, on a blockchain system? What does it mean? It's not really clear. Like, for example, if you have payment channels, I don't know if many of you know what payment channels are, but they sort of have balances. Like, if you just adjust the balance on a payment channel, is that accepting a payment? Is the payment done? It's very hard to decide how the laws apply. And that's why I think you'll see many organizations, Ripple and many others, Coin Center is another, lobbying regulators not so much to change the law, but to clarify it, like to tell us what it is that we need to do so that someone doesn't come down 2 years later and say, hey, what you were doing completely in the open and completely transparently for the last 4 years was illegal from day one, and you should have known that. And we're like, we meet with you every week about what we're doing, and now you're telling us we should have realized 4 years ago that it was fundamentally and completely illegal? That doesn't make any sense. And so It is. I have tremendous respect for the people who do that type of regulatory engagement. And I will say that there are a lot of forward-thinking.
And that's it right there. And he really lays down exactly where we're at today and exactly what the SEC has done. And that, to me, just sets the stage. Now, the idea of whether XRP is a security or not. Now, I personally believe XRP is a currency, just as I've heard Brad Garlinghouse say, Chris Giancarlo say, formerly of the CFTC, and now legal counsel to Ripple, and so many others. And just as all the customers that are using and on RippleNet, see XRP as a currency. That's its real, true intended use. And most of the world, truthfully, has already decided that they know that XRP is a currency. So this does get interesting. I have proposed the idea and the notion that what if we were to see through this new legal precedent decision and then a formation of a Ripple test like a Howey test for digital assets that were to give XRP a special designation of a security status, maybe not in all the complete ways of a stock, but because of its intended use, it may qualify for that for certain things. And I'm speculating here just because I've put forth the notion that if, maybe there could be, and I don't know this, but I'm putting it out here for discussion for all of us, but maybe there's some advantage that is seen by sovereign countries like the U.S. protecting their own dollar, that one day down the road, this can never challenge the status of the dollar, even though it has this blessing as to be a bridge currency, but they put something around it so it can only be a bridge currency and not a one world reserve currency. I think the one thing I'm getting at here is maybe we see some kind of classification, whether it's security or currency, that does put some boundaries on what this actually is, even further than we understand it, at least legally, so that this can never challenge the sovereign currencies of the world like the US dollar and others. Something about that is just not leaving with me. So I think that there's something we should pay attention and watch out to for that. Now, here's the other thing. I got to shout out John Alvitre, who really brought up some good questions here too, because then he proposed at this angle, what if XRP does become a security? Who can buy a security? The Treasury can buy asset securities. In turn, the Fed can buy securities from the Treasury. If this were to happen all at once in coordination and across the world, then the central banks will all hold that security, being XRP. These are things that we should think about. These are things that we should look at from all angles. We can obviously worry, how does this affect us? But I think ultimately, however this shakes out, it affects us in a very positive way. It's not financial advice. It's just how I personally feel myself. One thing's for sure, we took a hell of a hit with the lawsuit. As XRP holders and investors, we took a hell of a hit the other day. That was a big hit to take, and it may not be done hitting us. But I'll tell you one thing. XRP came back, and it was up 39+%, and it's up right now. It looks to be, 36% right now at 0.3663. And that makes me smile because I'm not going away, and neither is XRP. We're all here to stay. I'll catch all of you on the next one. And before I go, I want to give a shout out to a very special friend of mine who has a guitar channel he just started. It's called 1 Axe 1 Amp right here. This guy can really play. He's a very dear friend of mine. I do a lot of playing with this guy, but you should check him out. And he's also an XRP hodler. Yeah, he's holding on and he's into it. He's in it to win it. But listen to this guy just for a second here. dude can play. Oh my goodness. Shout out to him and 1X and 1Amp, the new channel. If you like guitar and you like to listen to somebody who can jam, this guy's really funny and he can really play. Go like and subscribe to his channel. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah to everybody out here. I hope you're having a wonderful time with family and friends. And I will catch all of you on the next one.